Era zaprasza na nowe horyzonty.
Okay, what you are about to see is a film indeed called Night Watching, and I suspect one of the reasons why I'm here is because indeed you Poles paid for it. You have to briefly say why I think he is the most successful painter in Europe, or indeed the West, in the last 400 years. First of all, he's born as a Republican and as a Democrat. And I think most of the world now believes in republics and democracy. He obviously does not paint like Jackson Pollock. So that means we can understand fully what he's on about, even though there is a gap of 400 years between him and us. So, republic, democratic, and comprehension. Another idea, though we must be careful about choosing the right words, as I would suggest he is not a misogynist. That is to say, you will never find an ugly painting of a woman by Rembrandt. You might find paintings of ugly women, but that's something different. I think two other things that maybe sound a little pompous. One is you could certainly describe him as post-Freudian, that is to say, he paints emotional attitudes and dramas, expressions on faces, situations, which for the very first time, I think, in Western painting relate to both interiors and exteriors. So there is a great sense of emotional authenticity about him, which has never been seen before in Europe. And I think maybe the last of my little list of good reasons to consider why Rembrandt should be seriously considered, and again, to use another pompous phrase, he is typically a postmodernist. That is to say, he's non-judgmental. He is not making a critique about notions of moral behavior. And I think also because his range of subject matter is so wide, he does, in a curious way, chime in very much with what we feel about notions of egalitarianism. So here we have a list: Republican, Democratic, anti-misogynist, very prolific and of course extremely talented, post-Freudian and post-modernist. And that's a list which I think we all now, in the year 2009 in the 21st century, basically concur with. We regard these things as the civilizing aspects of what we hope of ourselves. Not that we all practice them, but they are on the agenda of what we believe to be good and true. So a painter working primarily in the 1640s to have this list is really rather significant for us now at this age, because I don't think there's any point in making a historical movie unless you want to say something about us now. You know as well as I do, there's almost a sub-genre of cinema which is about painters. I'm sure you can make your own list. There have been countless films about painters, but the characteristic of most of these films, of course, is not really about painting, but is really about the sex lives of painters. I'm not going to disappoint you. This film is certainly about the sex life of Rembrandt. Well, I think some of my purposes were maybe a little more serious. I'm interested in visual literacy. There's a way that just because you've got eyes doesn't mean to say that you can see, and we've all been reliant on nearly 8,000 years of painting activity in order to train us how to use our eyes, how to see, so that all our artifacts, all our design, all our cities are related to the combined experience of painters who taught us how to look. So this film, in a way, is about that subject matter primarily. It is full of metaphors of darkness and lightness, of blindness and not seeing. And the very title of the film, which I understand is untranslatable in Polish, is the notion that's contained indeed in the metaphor of watching the night. For 8,000 years, our civilization has been dominated by text. And it's the text masters, and I'm sorry, but there are very, very few text mistresses, have organized the way we feel, the way we look, organized our holy books, for example, and I'm saying that about the Bible here in Poland, but has also organized our ethical situations, our jurisprudence, our political systems. But now, because of this grand second Gutenberg revolution, which is associated with digital technology, the text masters now have to move aside and allow the image masters to come forward to be able to refabulate how we will communicate in the future. I've often thought that cinema would be the ideal way to organize this new visual education, but I'm very, very disappointed in cinema. It is not an image-based medium, it's a text-based medium. So don't waste your time anymore coming to cinemas. They're a total waste of time now. All they're producing is bedtime stories for adults, which are all taken out of the bookshop anyway. What are the last big things in cinema? Lord of the Rings and fucking Harry Potter. Now, we know these aren't films, these are only illustrated books. I do have one great optimism. I do sincerely believe, again, with my hero, Umberto Eco, that the digital revolution will finally produce some real cinema. As a prologue, I will now shut up, have a look at this, and consider primarily not The Night Watch, not Rembrandt, but ideas of visual literacy. Thank you very much.